Before the year 1964, deaf schools here in the United States were separate. There were black deaf schools and white deaf schools. Then desegregation happened, and most people think, well, that was a good thing, right? But for black deaf Americans, this story is a little bit more complicated. Before the Civil Rights Act of 1964, in that period beforehand, they had deaf schools, of course, but they were all segregated, meaning black deaf schools and white deaf schools that were kept very separate with no interaction between pupils at all. And typically, the government funding to the white deaf schools was significantly more than what the government gave black deaf schools, which meant less resources, less funding, less teachers, etc., for these students. But many Black students look back on their time at these schools with fondness because it was there that they had their culture and their language, Black ASL, and they had deaf teachers who were Black. When the schools were integrated, it usually meant that these students had to now go to the white deaf school, which meant having a white principal and white teachers. What also typically happened was the Black deaf teachers were fired or demoted and reassigned to lesser positions at the white schools. Black ASL had flourished in Black deaf schools, but completely halted in the integrated schools. There weren't any more Black deaf teachers, which meant no one was teaching in Black ASL. Imagine a Black deaf student showing up at the integrated school, and while signing with the teacher, he uses this sign, a sign that means pain in Black ASL, his sign language. So he says, "It hurts." Well, the white teacher might say, "Oh, wait, I don't quite understand what you're signing." "Oh, you mean it hurts? It hurts." Okay. Then she proceeds to teach the student the correct sign, meaning she teaches her sign for her, and the student thinks his sign is wrong, so he discards it for the teacher's sign. And that's what happened, and Black ASL usage shrunk as a result. Now, something to understand was that integration for these schools meant, yes, classrooms were integrated with white and Black students. But what was unique is that deaf dorms, sleeping areas, were also integrated. So, yes, integration was a good thing. But for Black deaf students, it also meant access to their language, culture, heritage, and history disappeared. It's funny to me because this scenario where we're wondering, was integration good or bad for these students? That reminds me a lot of mainstream schooling today, where instead of deaf students going to deaf schools, they go to hearing schools and are integrated with their hearing peers. And so, yet again, you have a situation where most people say, yes, this is a good thing. It's something to celebrate. Finally, they're integrated, without understanding that for many deaf students, this is not good. They struggle a lot. Why? Well, mainstreaming means they don't socialize with other deaf. It means they lack access to language. It means that they learn solely through an interpreter, with all information getting passed like a game of telephone, so they get hazy, partial version of what's being taught. It means they can't chat or socialize with other deaf and learn from a variety of teachers and teaching styles. They can't. They only get the interpreter's version. It means they lack access to world understanding, to world knowledge, limiting what's called incidental learning. Also, mainstream today means undue focus on the ear, on your quote unquote disability, not in contrast like deaf schools, where culture, language, heritage, and history are the focus, where deafness isn't considered a disability, but an integral part of who you are, your identity. It's seen as a gift, that what you have, rather than focusing on what you lack, if that makes sense. So it's interesting to compare the two, desegregation in history and mainstreaming today, looking at these two, seeing what's good or bad about it, the pros and the cons. Today, we covered just one short chapter in history. So if you want to delve more into deaf history and totally nerd out about it, check out this video, 3,000 Years of Deaf History, where I take you through an overview. Thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing, and just supporting my channel. And just as a bonus tidbit, another Black ASL sign, my favorite, is this. It means curious.